Good evening, everyone. I figured out pretty much ready to go here, so I'll start a couple minutes early. Hey, Kyle. Good to see you, my friend. Hope everyone's had a good week, good weekend. I know I had a lot of fun this weekend. I was up in Syracuse, New York for the Ops Til You Drop weekend with the Central New York division of the NMRA. Fix that real quick. But yeah, I had a blast up in Syracuse this weekend. Spent some time hanging out with some really good people up there, and it was a great weekend. So tonight, basically, we're just gonna kind of have a little bit of a shorter stream. Just kind of go through some of what I saw and what I did this weekend, and hang out for a little while. I might do some busy work in the background, but I had a lot of time this week. We kind of took a pause at work for the second half of last week, so I had some time to get some work done on a couple things. I don't remember where I left the depot project last week, but I now have a pretty good, start on the depot project. I might do a little more work on the walls tonight, but we will see kind of where we land. So we'll give it a few more minutes here to let some people start to come in, and as we warm up here, what I will do is I'll start off with something I did work on last week. So let me get my big face. Hello? There I am. Okay. Not sure what happened to the mic signal. Why it cut off. Oh, I know why it cut off. So I don't know how much of what I was talking about got cut off, but I was just saying basically, so this is my Concord DL109. So we'll start there. This was my first attempted wire harness decoder install back in January, and it functions, but it's really not great. As you can see, the shell doesn't quite sit on the frame right. You can see the metal frame under the shell like that. That's because if I open up the shell, you'll see the nightmare that is the wiring under here. I did not carve out nearly enough space for the wires. I kind of just have the decoder hanging over here off the end. I didn't shorten any of the wires for the LED, which is glued, not even glued. It's like sort of heat shrinked to the lens that was on in the decoder, or in the locomotive to begin with, but in heating up the heat shrink, I actually melted the light piece itself a little bit. So if you look in the front, you can kind of see that the headlight is a little, well, you can't really see it on stream, but in person you can see where I kind of infilled with some glue to finish out the rest of the headlight, and that headlight is now basically permanently affixed to the nose of the locomotive. If I want to ever take this out and redo things, I have to basically buy a new lens piece or make a new lens piece for this locomotive. So, and it runs okay now. I've got it straightened out enough where it will run. It's just not a great situation. So I took some of the spare time I had last week to go ahead and open up and start working on this guy. This is one of the PBs that I got at Springfield this year. Big thank you to Trainman for selling this to me and the model train people. He sold me a whole bunch of, I think it was 1 powered PA, 2 powered PBs, I think, and then it was a whole bunch of dummy PAs and PBs. So great stuff. Very happy to have them. They're all in the original McGinnis scheme here, not the reverse, which is what they're more well known for. But I like this. Eventually, I'll probably repaint some of the PAs and PBs into the various schemes the New Haven had, because they were around for a little while. But for now, 767 is going to stay. The 767, this one, is going to stay in the McGinnis scheme, the original McGinnis scheme. The reason what they wound up doing eventually was the reverse McGinnis, which is the red and the white swapped, because they realized having a white bar at the bottom of the locomotive is going to be impossible to keep clean with all the dust kicking up and everything. So they swapped it to the white being along the top here, which wasn't much better because Alco's going to Alco. But so I open up the inside of this locomotive. Well, first of all, you'll see it fits on the frame exactly how it should. You know, it's a nice clean fit. So if I... And you also notice I'm having a little more difficulty actually getting the shell, there we go, off the frame. It's because it fits right. So if I go ahead and open this up, you will notice that I am struggling. No, you will notice, there it is, that this is far, far cleaner. I actually went ahead and, using some milling bits and my Dremel tool, I milled a slot for the decoder to sit in. I milled a channel for all the wires to sit in nice and cleanly. I milled channels for the pickup and motor contacts. So it's all machined out. And if you notice in here, the LED is just kind of cleanly attached to the headlight piece. And that's thanks to picking up a bottle of micro crystal clear and using that as the glue to adhere everything to. So it's just all around a far cleaner and far better install, which I'm very happy with. And it runs very nicely now, at least from what I can tell. I haven't had a chance to bring it to the club yet to really give it a test run and break it in. But now I have to decide what the rest of this lash up is going to be and install. If I'm going to have another A unit, I need to install a function decoder into another dummy A unit so that that way I can actually have the lights on the rear of the unit. But 767, which is still, I haven't done any programming on it yet, so that'll be the next step. But I'm very happy, very proud of how this came out. So what part of my busy work tonight might be doing a little bit of weathering on this. We'll see if I can find a good reference image of the standard McGinnis PAs while I'm doing some research tonight. I might do that. But that is the first thing I want to show, and I see we now are up to 5 viewers. How's everyone doing tonight? Hopefully well. I hope you all had a great week. We're going to move ahead into talking about this weekend now. So for anyone who doesn't know, this weekend I went up. Hey, how you doing, Andy? I am coming down. I am very excited to be going down there for Island Ops. We'll get to that in a bit. I'm going down there with Ed O'Connell. We're going to, oh my gosh, let me pull up my schedule for this weekend. So, this past weekend, yesterday, the day before, I was up in Syracuse, New York, at Ops Til You Drop, which was a lot of fun. It is a operating weekend, for anyone who doesn't know, put on by the Central New York Division of the NMRA, where basically you sign up and you get assigned 3 layouts, based partly on, when the order in which you register, and partly on your preferences for what you select on when you send in your application. But I wound up running, yes, exactly, Kyle. It's really good. So you wind up running 3 layouts over the course of 2 days. One layout Saturday from about noon till about 3, or 4. Well, 12:30 to about 4, I think it was. And then you eat dinner at your Saturday evening layout. So for me, I'll go through them as I talk through. Saturday afternoon, I went to Drew James's Canada, Spokane, and Pacific, which is a wonderful layout. I've got a video up on my channel from last year. And in a little bit here, we'll be going through some of my video from this year's session, which was a great time. Got to hang out all weekend, actually. I got to hang out with Dave Inslee, which was a good time hanging out with him and getting to know him some more. I then went to Ed O'Rourke. 2 Ed O's that I gotta keep straight. Ed O'Rourke and his brand new New Haven layout, which is basically based on New Haven Station. Which was a really fun time. Had dinner there before the op session started, and then we ran operations. And then Sunday morning, you go to your 3rd layout after a little breakfast. And I went to Dick Ayer's, what is it? The B&A Central layout is what he calls it. And it's basically a freelance track plan incorporating the B&A, the B&M, and the New Haven, which was a great time. And like I said, we'll get to the videos of all of these in a little bit here. But then next weekend, I'm going down to Long Island for Island Ops, which is a similar ops weekend. But, oh geez, what did I do? Oh, it's fine. Similar ops weekend, but instead of being put on by the local NMRA division, it's just put on by local layouts. It's going to be a great time. Don't worry about it. It's work's pretty rough, but glad you're here. What was I pulling up? Oh, Island Ops. I was pulling up my layout assignments. So, this weekend, Friday, taking the train down to Long Island. Oh, very nice. Good to hear. Good to hear you're finding ways to enjoy yourself. But Friday afternoon, or probably late morning, early afternoon, I'll be taking the train down to Grand Central, and then LIRR out to the island, where I will meet Ed O'Connell. He's going to pick me up, and we are going to go Friday night to Lou DeRosso's Conrail Boston line, which I'm looking forward to. Then Saturday morning, we are going to Steve Gittleman's Great Lakes and Iron Range. which actually I did some research on the layout through your video, Andy, which is a beautiful layout. I can't wait to it's just so striking. Then everybody goes to the West Island Club on Saturday evening. So that is a huge layout. That's 36 operators, 5,600 square feet, I believe. So that's going to be awesome. And then Sunday morning, I'm going back to Steve Gittleman's to go outside instead of down to his basement and run the Sweet Hollow and Chichester, I think is what he calls it, which is his outdoor G-scale layout. So back to Gittleman's. Yep, I was expecting to see you there, Andy. And then I know I'll see a lot of people. I'll see you. I'll see Dave Barraza, who I spent a good amount of time with this weekend as well. At West Island. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. Not yet. Not quite yet, Kyle. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get to full insane. But yeah, so... And then after all of those sessions, because Ed is going to be my ride back upstate to come home, I will be stopping in at Heath's, and I'll probably just... I know I will not be participating in the ops, because he's already full up on operators for that session, but Ed hasn't gotten to see his layout yet, so Ed will be there, and I think the 3 operators that are going to be there at Heath's after our time at Steve's on Sunday are going to be Ed, Don Iris, and Mark Herrick are going to be the 3 operators on Heath's layout that day. So I'll just be there to cause trouble. No, I'll probably be shooting some video, taking some pictures, rail fanning Heath's layout for once instead of running it, which will be a fun experience. I'm going to be spending actually a good amount of time with Don and Mark, because I think we're also going to, well, I know we're also going to be at Ludorosso's as well. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, I'll be sure to cause all the problems for Heath and do nothing but antagonize him. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's going to be another really fun, busy weekend, but really fun. So, before I get into the videos from this weekend, I want to show off some. Funnily enough, I actually wound up taking things home from Ops Till You Drop, not from any of the layouts I visited, but from my good friend Paul Stamp. Oh, that he does, Kyle. So Friday, I was already up in Syracuse, hanging out with my brother, because he's a student up there. And I get a message from Paul with a picture of this. This is a Kata USA Bud RDC4, painted for the New Haven. You can see the orange and white on the front there, and the McGinnis scheme. And he tells me, and he goes, "Are you interested in this?" And I said, yes. How much is it? And he says, $55. Now, keep in mind, these things have not been produced since, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years ago. They nowadays go for $150 plus each on eBay. So $55 for this is a steal. And so I immediately sent back, "Could you pick it up for me?" And he says, "Absolutely." And I'm just trying to figure out what he's doing, where he is. Apparently Paul's at a hobby store up there, up in the Rochester, Batavia that general area. And apparently there's a ton of N-scale stuff there. So I'm like, oh, sweet. So I just got an RDC for myself for pretty cheap. That's so awesome. Then Paul, being the troublemaker he is, sends me back, are you looking for anything else in particular? I go, well, I'm not really supposed to be spending a ton of money right now, but there is a, let me go check my email list, stuff like that. Fight cancer, switch. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that, Andy. I might have to do some research. Yeah, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, and I feel like I probably should, but for some reason I don't. So I'll have to look into that, Andy. But yeah, exactly, Kyle. These RDCs are so neat. And now the only problem with this now is this is an RDC 4. And I now need to get an RDC 1 to run with it. That way I've got, because the RDC 4 is half baggage, half RPO, or roughly 2/3, 1/3, I think. But so now I need an RDC 1 or RDC 2 to run with this. But whatever, we'll figure it out. I may wind up going with a Concore 1 temporarily as just a dummy unit to just to basically have this one shove that one, so that way it looks okay. But we'll see. But so Paul messaged me, are you looking for anything else in particular? I'm like, well, I'm not really trying to spend a ton of money right now, but let me check my eBay wish list and see if there's anything that stands out to me. I'm like, well, there's nothing really in particular that I need to like look for right now. But the only thing that I could think of really is an Alco PA or FA, because I got some PAs and stuff. And I've wanted some FAs for a little while, so he goes, okay, let me take a look. So Kyle, the numbers are basically the RDC 1 is all coach, I believe. RDC 2, what was RDC 2? RDC 2 was, I believe, coach with a little baggage at the front. Let me look it up. Yeah, RDC 2 had baggage area at the front, and then the rest of it was coach. RDC 3 was half RPO, a little bit of baggage, and half passenger seats. And then the RDC 4 is just half RPO, half baggage. And then I think there were also other variants that were made, but 9s, yeah. Gotcha. Thank you, Andy. Really? I am not familiar with that, Andy. That sounds awesome. I will have to do some looking for photos of that, because that's sweet. But yeah, so that's the deal with RDCs. So yeah, I send the message to Paul. If you see any FAs, let me know, and we'll see what the prices are and whatever. So he sends me a picture of a lash up of lifelike FAs. And I go, oh man, those are nice. And they're in Erie scheme right now. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to repaint them to at least 2 of them to New Haven. I might do the third to New Haven, or I might do the third to my BNCCS. I haven't decided yet. But he sends me, they're out, sitting out there, and I'm like, oh, those are nice. And then I look at the price. All 3 units, 125. All right. Well, now I'm in. All right, you got me sold. Hey, Adam, happy birthday. I think it was you that had the birthday, right? Is your birthday? Someone's birthday was today. Either way, good to see you, Adam. Welcome to my tale of accidentally spending money. Yes, it was yours. Okay, good. I was like, I thought I remembered that. But these are, for 3 units, that's a incredibly good deal. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I have to. So I say yes to those. And then he sends me a picture of a New Haven Jeep 9. And he goes, so the guy wants, I think he said $50 for it. And I'm like, I don't know, I've already got one. And as I was sitting there thinking about it, he sends me a text. All right, now it's down to 40. All right, now it's down to 35. All right, now he said he'd just throw it in with the FAs and call it 150. And I said, all right, you got me. So while I did wind up spending $200 this weekend that I wasn't planning on, luckily that's basically just within my budget. That basically just means I won't. That's my budget for May now spent, which is okay. I just got to be careful now. My budget for May, and then the summer, I think I'm planning on kind of cooling down with and making any purchases other than modeling supplies. But so yeah, that's my tale of woes, I suppose. But now I have quite the new collection here. It was very good to bring these home, and I'm sure Heath will talk about it on his stream on Wednesday. But he got some goodies from Paul as well, and Paul got something for Ray as well, and Paul was Santa Claus this weekend, is what it comes down to. So I of course I paid back Paul for $200 for the stuff, but yep. It all happens to us. Yes, Paul, I was just talking about how you really twisted my arm into spending some money this weekend for getting some really good deals. I really appreciate you picking these up for me, Paul. I am super happy with all this, and I'm very excited to get around to putting decoders in these and painting them, and it's gonna be fun. And this one's gonna need a little work, the Jeep 9, because this is the Kato motor GP9, Kato / Atlas, basically, because it was built by Kato and then imported by Atlas. Here's my Atlas GP9 for reference. So I need to paint the handrails, which I did do on this Atlas GP9. But I need to paint the handrails. I need to do a little bit of work on, basically, what I might wind up doing is just repainting the whole cab and redecaling the whole cab, because the font, I don't know if you could tell, but the font is slightly different here between where it says the word New Haven there. I'm trying to get it, so let me get the light kind of out of the way. The New Haven, I believe the New Haven was long hood forward. I'm trying to remember. My brain's not working right now, but I believe it was long hood forward. Now I need to look it up because my brain is unsure now. Oh man, I knew this. New Haven Jeep 9. Maybe it was short hood forward. No, it was. Okay, it was short hood forward. But they ran them both ways because it's a Jeep. But it was short hood forward. But if you can tell, of course, it's hard because the colors are so vibrant. But the New Haven, you can see on the Kato version, is wider spread font than on the Atlas version. And the Atlas version has the DERS 4, which stands for Diesel Electric Road Switcher, which is what the New Haven's designation for Jeep 9s were. So I got to put that on there, decal, regardless, because that's not on the Kato version. So there's a little bit of work to do on this Kato version, and I got to look into how it runs. And I also got to put the numbers in the number boards and this and that and the other thing, but very much worthwhile. Because now I will have a pair of Jeep 9s to run on a freight when I eventually get decoders in these. Where I'm now... Oh, I do want to see those, and I might have to pull them up for the stream, Andy. Let's see. Let me open this up. Download this image. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Andy, have you ever, by chance, found an image of that unit that shows its number? Because I'd love to look more into that. If you have, let me know. If not, no biggie. But that would be super cool. I'm gonna... So I've just saved those. Let me pull them up for the stream to see. And then actually from there, that'll be a perfect segue into sharing my videos. But yes, so thank you, Paul, for picking these up for me. Curse you for making me spend money, but thank you for picking these up for me, because these are awesome. And don't let me forget to pay you back for the other half. I want to get that done. I'll get that done at some point this week. But yeah, alright, here we go. So let me set this up here. Screen capture. Yeah, it's so hard to tell because one, they had them very small. Basically just in the number boards, and the number boards are only on the sides, and it's hard to tell the numbers. So don't worry about it if you haven't. Well, actually, it was on the little plate, but everywhere they had the numbers, it's the same really small size. But here we go. So this is that unit that oh, why is it flipped? That's bizarre. Transform. There we go. Now it's right. So this is the unit that Andy's talking about. We got Fight Cancer. Oh, I got a transition. There it is. We've got Fight Cancer and the pink sword here, and then the other end, give to the American Cancer Society and a pink sword. Very cool. Definitely something I'm going to have to look more into, and probably either make decals for or have decals made for or something. But very cool. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Andy, because that's super cool. All right. So now let me go ahead and we will start getting into this weekend. Let me get into my camera files here. So I started the weekend, actually. I started the weekend on Thursday. Like I said, I was... excuse me. We took a bit of a break in the office for the second half of the week due to some things that came up. But that's not where I wanted to be. There we go. Sounds good to me, Paul. I will definitely be making a trip with you when I get out that way this October, because I'm definitely planning to. I actually gotta make sure that I shoot an email to Ed, making sure that I get on that. But I'm also gonna be with him all weekend. So, but I gotta make sure I get on the mailing list for Ops Around the Clock. But so the first thing I did this weekend, like I said, I started my way up to Syracuse on Thursday, and I stopped in at Jack Cutler's Juniata Secondary. He was having the kids from RPI over for an op session. Okay, we got too many noises going on. I'm getting overstimulated. Let me pause my music. There we go. Getting overstimulated. But so, like I said, Jack had the RPI kids over. So I got to hang out with them. There's Benjamin on the dispatchers panel. I'm gonna put some of these videos together for the RPI guys and send them over to Benjamin, and that way he can share them out with the rest of the club. But they seemed like they were having a really good time. I showed up right towards the end, like the second half of the session. I used the guys to work in the yard, filling out some paperwork for an extra local that Jack decided to send out to, I think, Abbeville? But they were all having a really good time. As you can tell in these videos, they were enjoying themselves. So I spent probably 2 or so hours. Oh yeah, fashionably late. But to be fair, Jack basically reached out to all of our regular crew members about a month ago and asked, hey, who would be available to act as pilots for the RPI guys. And at the time, I was supposed to be working all week, so I said, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. But then things wound up changing and things wound up coming up, and we took the break at the end of the week. And so I was like, well, I touched base with him and I said, hey, Jack, if you need me, I can be there. And he said, well, we don't really need you. And I was like, well, would you mind if I stopped in? Because the Albany area is about halfway between myself and Syracuse. So it was about a 2-hour drive to Jack's, and then about a 2.5-hour drive out to Cuse from there. So I stopped in there and said hi to the guys and shot some video of them running trains and chatted with them a little bit. And it was good fun. But yeah, so that was my time spent at Jack's, and here we go. They were having some fun after the session, testing out to see how far they could get the
No, I got it. I'm trying to get it going through the yard on the far side.
The clear test car to go down the helix. It's an HO layout. It's a nice layout. I got lots of videos of it on my channel. I've got a whole playlist of I think 20 videos or so. It's the HO scale Juniata Secondary. I've been a regular crew member there for the better part of 2 years now. So it's a fun layout to run on. But so then I got up to Syracuse Thursday night. Spent Friday with my brother doing some stuff with him, some music stuff with him, and then we got to Saturday. And Saturday at around noon, I got to around 12:30. 12:40 actually. I got to Drew's house. I spent about I don't know how long it was. Probably 45 or so minutes, Paul. We spent rail fanning at the Tractor Supply Company. So actually, I can let me bring you back there. Epilepsy warning. Sorry. bring you back. Here we go. So we spent a good chunk of time rail fanning at Tractor Supply Company. So I caught, we caught the garbage train coming in and stopping at the signal there at, I can't remember what CP it was off the top of my head, but it's basically right in front of the Tractor Supply Company in Syracuse. So we had 7252 leading here. It was a solo leader on the garbage container train westbound. So I got a couple shots of it front and rear. And I was commenting to Paul, it's kind of neat. You think, CSX is just the, YN3 Dark Future. It's all the same. But there are actually 3 distinct CSX logos on the sides of YN3 locomotives, so you can kind of tell how old the or when the last time the locomotive saw the paint shop was, because you've got just CSX like this. Then you had the CSX with the boxcar around it, and the wheels and everything. And then more recently, they've gotten rid of the boxcar and went with the .com under the end of the X. So it's kind of interesting that you can still, even though it's all YN3, you can start to tell when the locomotive is last seen in the shops. So then we saw tank train, unit tanker, westbound with a pair of, let's see, I think it was a Gevo first out, and then a AC-44 second out in UP paint, which was very cool for me because being down here on the river line, I basically never, the only foreign power I regularly see, and that's very rarely even still, is occasionally we'll get BNSF locomotives on the oil trains up the Hudson. So seeing UP power was very neat for me because it's something I rarely get to see. So we got 8203 leading and 6280 following. Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Because I remember looking it up and I knew it was an AC-44, but the fact that it's XSP is awesome. But it's actually got some. These are really nice photos for weathering reference. The fading of the yellow and a little bit of grime kicked up around the wheel set of 8203, and then a brighter yellow on 6280 and a big splotch of dirt and grime kicked up from the wheel set. So really neat weathering reference trains. Hey, always train scaring. So then just before we got to Drew's, we Paul and I missed, I think, the coolest consist of the day, which apparently Ray and Joe were Ray Arnott and Joe Mame were chasing right behind us pretty much. But we just missed by no more than 5 minutes. It was what was it, Paul? It was an SD70M leader in YN3, and then I think it was a -9, or was it AC-44? I don't remember. In YN2, second out, with a nice long manifest freight, and I was like, oh man, I was chasing, not chasing it, but paralleling it for a short period of time. Right as I pulled out of Tractor Supply Company, I was like, oh man, what a consist to have missed. Yeah, that's pretty much 70 Mac. Thank you, an AC-44. I only got a glimpse of it, so I couldn't tell if it was an AC-44 or a -9. But I knew it was a 70 series because it had that, and I knew it wasn't a 70 Ace or flared radiator 70M because it had the flat radiators. So I was like, oh, that's something you really don't see much anymore nowadays. So I was like, oh man, what a consist to have missed. What a lash up. But so then I made my way to Drew's house, and Paul, you made your way to Bill Brown's, if I'm remembering correctly. But let's close this, open this. If the video will ever load. Oh, geez. Oh, I know what's going on. All right, we'll go back to the Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, yeah. Dave Martini's first. That's right. So you went from rail fanning CSX to running it. Some CSX and Conrail. But let's see. Open with photos, and then... Now, what on earth are you doing, computer? Work with me, man. Open with photos. Thank you. That's all I needed. So then, I went to Drew James's, Canada, Spokane, and the Pacific. So we will... I'll take you through the walkthrough here.
Part Spokane here, heading towards Kettle Falls.
And Drew's layout is an incredible layout. If you ever find yourself in the Syracuse area, you gotta check out Drew's. A lot of layouts in the area you gotta check out, but I think Drew's might be my favorite. It's got such a tight operating scheme. It's so well laid out. It's so well sceniced. It's just incredible. So this is all going to become, I'm just going to go through a highlight reel here tonight of these layouts. But these are all going to become a video, or 3 videos, 4 maybe, if Benjamin lets me put out the RPI kids. But I may not do that one anyways, just because it's not quite as high standards as I normally shoot, because I was just hanging out and having fun for the most part. But yeah, so I'll let the walkthrough here actually fully play out, and then I'll jump through to some of the my favorite shots on each of these layouts. But these are all 3 of these layouts are going to get videos of their own, and I just got to check with Steve Gittleman, which I assume he would be okay with it, but I got to check with him. Everyone else I've already checked with. All 4 of the layouts next weekend should get a video of their own as well. So let's take a walk around the CS&P. That corner there that we just went around as Iowa Scaled Engineering
Cold River here.
flange squealer hooked up to it, and so whenever trains go around that, you get the flange squeal because it's a nice tight curve, and it's cool. So that's the first little section. Then I had to swap my camera battery, which is why.
Continue along the Colville here into Kettle Falls.
There we go.
Continue right here to Kettle Falls, the town.
Now we're, like I said, in the town of Kettle Falls, where there is a local freight that switches all day, which is what these cars set out here are. He scratch built the station, which is very nice. As you can see, it's just, in general, it's very well scenic and very well laid out. There's
got local job switches here.
There's the power for the Kettle Falls job. And this whole area is basically a little industrial park that the Kettle Falls local switches all day. And he interacts with other trains that come and go. There are a couple trains that drop cars for him and pick cars up from him throughout the session. So that's a fun job that I want to get to next year.
Coming out of Kettle Falls up top. We come around.
Snow shed
And up over top staging here in Spokane.
And that's a double-ended staging yard. Well, when we get to the other end
into the town of Northport.
When we get to Calgary, Alberta on the far side,
northbound.
That'll be the other side of the double-ended staging.
Is the last town before you hit the Canadian border.
There's a local that comes and switches Northport as a turn out of the Nelson Yard, which is apparently a nice job, fun job.
And around into the tunnel around the peninsula here.
It is point to point, Kyle.
See some neat little rock climbers.
So it is point to point in operation. but it functionally is a loop because of the double-ended staging yard. Yeah, Paul, nice. So functionally, it's a loop layout. So if Drew wanted to, he could just turn on a train and send it around the layout, and it would loop around and around and around. But functionally, from an operating perspective, because the double-ended staging yard is split by this. I'm pointing up the screen like you can see my finger. By this peninsula that we're walking around right now, it works as a point-to-point layout from Spokane, Washington, north all the way up to Calgary, Alberta. So it's a very well thought out layout design. I really like it. Here's the border right here. So now passing north into Canada.
442. There's the borderline. You can see the cleared area here for the border itself.
I'm just gonna stop right here for a second. I just want to point this out because when I first got to this layout, I thought this was so cool. Actually, we'll go a little further. So you can see here modeled power lines, modeled power pole, in the foreground, modeled power lines, photo backdrop, power lines.
Border.
It's just so seamlessly done that it's very impressive to me, and it's just something that I like to point out whenever I show this layout to people in my videos and stuff. I just think that little attention to detail to bring the power line from the backdrop into the foreground is really nicely done.
Continue north into Canada. Here we have an interchange with Canadian National. This beautiful bridge over the Columbia River Gorge.
One of the things that Drew really nailed, and I know Paul, you appreciate this about this layout as well, is he's got these really nice segments of just scenery. He's got nice long runs between towns, which is super nice.
Entering the town of Boundary.
Absolutely, Andy. So now we're in
Boundary, BC.
Boundary, British Columbia, which is just north of the border.
We got a power plant. And the station where...
Hey, Sean. Stop the video for a second here to say good evening to you, my friend. We are going through some of the videos I took this weekend at Ops Til You Drop in Syracuse, New York. So this is Drew James's Canada, Spokane, and Pacific layout, which is the first layout I went to. So we're going to walk around right now, and then I'll show off a couple of my favorite trains that I ran, and then we'll get to the other two layouts that I got to next. But good to see you, man.
Crews need to stop. Passenger crews need to stop for a customs and border patrol inspection. Top.
That's a fun.
Along above the Nelson Yard.
So it's a really fun thing that he has passenger crews do, which is adds a lot to running a passenger train. Chris, good to see you, man. Good evening. Like I just told Sean, we are currently walking through some of my videos from this weekend's Ops Til You Drop operating weekend up in Syracuse, New York. And this is Drew James's Canada, Spokane, and Pacific. Having the passenger train stop just north of the Canadian border adds such a neat aspect to it. You're not just running
into Castlegar, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time here in Castlegar.
You're not just running. I keep talking over myself. You're not just running, end to end. You're stopping at the stations, and then you have to stop there. And there's a card. You actually draw a card, and the card tells you how long your customs inspection is, which is really neat. And it ties up the main line, so it makes the dispatcher's job more interesting, and it's just a fun little added detail. And Drew's got a couple of those. But so, like I was saying, this now is the town of Castlegar, and this is where I spent a lot of my time, myself and Ed O'Connor, or myself and Dave Inslee, had the Castle Guard turn on this session. So we came out on Nelson Yard and did some switching here.
As myself and Dave Inslee will be doing a switch job here. So this should be a good time.
And it was a good time.
I often don't get involved on, especially like the last train that comes in. It might be like, hey, we're shutting down. And that train came in late, so don't worry.
But in general,
And that track back there is another Canadian National interchange.
Yeah. You'll know that they don't know this session.
they're into North Castlegar here, along the sawmill.
The sawmill scene is super well done, and it's got sound effects and everything. It's so nice. And it's got the little pond down below going down the creek. It's really nice. So now we're
Continuing northbound.
continuing north on the, I think this is the Kootenay River, if I'm remembering correctly. I think I'll say it.
River.
Yeah, I was right. Yes, this is a, I don't remember. I think it's probably, what, like 1,500 square feet or so layout, roughly. It is a, it's
itself. Here is the Nelson Station.
It's a layout that makes really good use of its space as well, which is super cool. The other two layouts I went to are much smaller, but also very fun. So Drew Scratch built that station as well. Beautiful work done by him there.
Then we have the Nelson Yard itself, which we had a glimpse at earlier.
So I don't think I took a good look at the Nelson Yard, but it's very nicely scenic for a yard scene. But I didn't spend much time at the yard because I was running trains for the most part. The yard crew spends all day there, and they have a good time sorting cars and adding to trains and taking off trains and building the locals and turrets and stuff. So before we get to the yard, though, there is...
We've got to go into the Nelson Industrial Plant, or Industrial Park. This is where I did a lot of switching last year on the Nelson Switch job. This was a fun little puzzle.
Yeah, and the Nelson Switch job is another fun job on the layout where you just kind of sit here for a lot of the session and just do some switching here. I think that I don't know if I have that photo on my camera, Paul, but I may have to pull it up.
And as the trains go north, out of Nelson, they go through the tunnel here.
Look, man, you got me with that serious picture. You got me with that serious picture. I had to get you back when I saw that one. But so Kyle, to answer your question earlier, this is HO, yes, Chris. This is all HO scale. Kyle, to answer your earlier question, as you can see here, this is the other end of that double-ended staging yard, but it really doesn't feel like you've gone in a loop. It feels like you've gone point to point, which is super, super fun.
Calgary, Alberta.
Pine Valley, good evening, my friend. Good to see ya. We got a lot of people in here tonight. It's so fun.
So that is the Spokane and Pacific.
As I just said there,
have some fun running trains on it.
As I just said there in the video, I am going through my the layouts I visited this weekend and ran trains on during the Ops Till You Drop weekend here in Syracuse, New York. So this was Drew James's Canada, Spokane, and Pacific, and now let's get a couple. Oh, before we get to the trains, we need to take a look at Drew's dispatch panel, because Drew's dispatcher uses a replica USNS switch panel that he built himself and wired himself, and it was kind of his COVID project, he says.
All important dispatcher's panel.
But it is a thing of beauty.
Something I missed last year.
And someday I hope to be able to use it, because it uses the same logic as the dispatch panel that I've used at Jack Cutler's. So when I've done the streams of dispatching at Jack's, it's the same logic. You turn the key, and then you hit the button to send the signal, and you have to wait for the signal to come back before the switch actually turns or the signal actually changes. So I'm very familiar with this. I just have to become more familiar with the layout, which hopefully I'll be able to get up there and visit my brother some more and spend some more time there. And someday maybe I will be able to
on camera, but
use this machine.
Gorgeous recreation USNS panel
It's so nice.
hooked in through LCC to the layout.
And yeah, Drew does a lot of LCC stuff. Oh man, absolutely, Chris. It is incredibly a lot of effort, but it's so worth it because it's just so cool. Incorporate these on my layout someday. Not sure how you plan to do so. You talking about like a dispatcher panel, Kyle? Yeah. I don't think well, I don't know. We'll see if I ever build a large enough layout to really dispatch. But I don't know. Having a dispatcher job would be fun, but I just don't know if it's really my kind of thing because I'm more of a switching layout kind of guy. But very, very well executed, Chris. So this is
Well, I gotta think where they're coming from.
demonstration here.
So there, that's
The switchboards, yeah.
Yep.
And he comes out of here.
Hey Drew. Good to see you.
So, all right. So now let's get to let's see. Where's some of my favorite shots? That was a decent one. So the first job that we ran, yeah, this is a pretty good one. First job that Dave Inslee and I ran is the Burlington Northern passenger job, southbound. So we had a beautiful E9 that looks like it was rescued out of Chicago commuter service because it's got HEP and stuff. But then we've got I think it's an F7B, FP7B because it's got a steam generator in it for all these passenger cars. All in the Cascade green with the white stripe, hockey stripe, and it's beautiful, beautiful train. A lot of fun to run. So mute that. Let's move on to the next clip. Oh, this is a fun one. This was if I can get the controls back. We met that bridge. Oh yeah, we can go back to that bridge for sure. I go through the layout a couple times, but yeah, we'll go back to that bridge for you, Chris, for sure. So this was in we met the Canadian National RDC, tooting hi to each other. Yeah, let's go back to that bridge over the. I think that was the bridge over the Kootenay. Yeah, there we go. No worries, Kyle. Drew's got a couple really nice bridges. I didn't get a great shot of the train over this bridge, unfortunately, because the aisle here is a little tight, so I had to kind of maneuver to let people get by. But it's not as bad as I thought it was in the moment. That right there is kind of the worst point of that because I zoomed in a little, but there we go. All right, so let's keep going here. Meat.
P and all the hatches and everything. Yeah, it's beautiful.
There's the bridge over the throat to Nelson Yard.
Rails down the side. Looks really good.
Nice, Adam. It's always fun when you recognize something that you've worked on someone else's layout. Yeah, of course, Chris. We're gonna. I think I got a shot of this train going over the bridge over the Columbia River Gorge, which would be coming up soon here. But the Columbia River Gorge Bridge is super nice as well. Here it is going into the town of Boundary, southbound. So we're right about to round the curve into Boundary here. There's in boundary. There we go. There you go, Chris. There's another really good one. Yeah, I think this is my favorite bridge of the 3 big bridges he's got on the layout. Of course, I didn't get much of the water for you, Chris, but a little bit at the beginning. Yes, indeed. Very nice. Alright. Let's jump ahead here to... Oh, I like this shot here. This is a good shot here. I'm coming into now, Dave and I are coming into, what's the name of that town? Kettle Falls, southbound. We got this CP rail freight northbound, waiting at the signal for us to pass. You and your water features, Paul. You and your creeks. But so I've got my train coming southbound in. I think then I get the CP rail train departing northbound and the Kettle Falls local coming in off of the industrial spur. Let's see. Yep. So there's, you can see the signal just went green. So the SD40-2s are going to pull out, and here comes the local.
10 minutes again, Dave? Okay. So, 8 o'clock.
Shoving its rake of cars here in from Kettle Falls. Like, sir, it didn't happen. So there's the local switch job as the freight train departs behind it. I was like, that's a... You can't plan a meet like that. That's the kind of meet that just happens. I was pretty happy with this shot here too. Here we go. We got a second northbound came through as I was waiting at the station to depart, or waiting for passengers to board. So there goes that second northbound. And then there's my train departing southbound to not Calgary, Spokane. Here it is going around the curve with the ISE squealer. There it is. Whoa. Yeah, let me quickly, let's see, where is it? Where am I? Here we go. Paul's now a mod, so now Paul, if you want to put a link, you can. So, yeah, so there's that. There's my my local job, mine and Dave's turn. Heading through Kettle Falls on our way to whatever the name of that town is. That it's Castlegar. There it is. My brain is failing. And I'm not going to go through too much of the switching here. That's a nice little bridge for you as well there, Chris. Over Little Creek. It's a curved bridge. You are special now. Yeah, I've been meaning to do that for a while, but I keep forgetting. Yeah. Hey, there you go. Yeah, this is a nice little bridge here over the creek under the lumber mill. I figure I can trust you enough with that sort of power, Paul. So there's our local freight. It's all good. I did get some nice, some pretty fun shots of going back and forth, which I may speed up in the actual video. I'm not going to go through them now, but needless to say, I got some good shots of doing some switching. Not a time lapse like I would normally do. Oh, actually, I do want to catch this, though. We had the, this is the Canadian, I believe. The CP Canadian. Oh, no, isn't that the Canadian? This is the business train. That's the OCS.
Yep.
Which is a fun train. I got to run that last year. So we're gonna skip through all the switching for now. You'll have to wait for the full video to release to see that. And there we are, departing back northbound back to the yard. Oh boy. What is it? What did you post? Is it a Rickroll? It sure is a Rickroll. Oh, Paul. Oh, I was pretty happy with this shot here. I want to share this shot in its entirety. That's a beautiful Century that he's got. I think it's an MLW Century, but C630. Very nicely weathered. It looks just like an Alco would, with all those grime streaks down the sides. Probably my favorite locomotive on Drew's whole layout. Oh, we'll have to see, Paul. You're still probationary. No. But I was very happy with that shot there. That's going back into the yard. Here's that Century coming through again. Where I get a nice shot of it here. This thing is just phenomenally weathered. Phenomenally weathered. I don't remember who he said did it, but and then this was the last train of the day that Dave and I ran. I'll get only a couple shots of this and we'll move on because it is getting a little late and I was planning on this to be a shorter stream. But we got to run a pair of F7s, 724 and 732, northbound. Nice, Paul. But the cool thing about this train here is, there it is. Drew let me run my B&CCS boxcar on the through freight. So I got to run that around before I oh jeez, Garen. So I get to run that train around, this car around, and I'm going to bring it down to Long Island as well before I send it out to Interurban Era out on the West Coast, where it is eventually going to find a home. But I was just very, very happy that I had the opportunity to run that on. I actually got the chance to run it on all three layouts that I visited, which was very cool of the layout owners. Let's see, where's that? I'll only get a couple of really good shots of this train. This is not great because we stop, I think. Well, the framing is very nice on this shot. I just wish we didn't hit a red signal. Derail in the last car? Really? I was not. Let me go back and look now. You're making me look. Oh, yep. It was derailed, and then it. You were right, Adam. Yep. It was derailed, and then it re-railed on the frog. Good eye. I didn't even see that, and I was shooting the video. Like I said, this one was framed very nicely. I was super happy with the shot. Unfortunately, we hit a red signal, so I didn't get the whole train going by. But I got the pair of F units. And I think I got my boxcar in the frame as well. Man, that boxcar looks good if I do say so myself. Thank you, Chris. I just wish, like I said, we didn't hit a red signal, but that's the deal with these op sessions is that's basically the biggest rule is, you know, basically all the layout owners tell me this, and this is something I would do even if they didn't tell me, but apparently a lot of people wouldn't. You know, they're more than happy to let me shoot pictures, shoot video, whatever on their layout, but you have to let the operations come first. So you can't be ignoring signals and stuff to get your shots. So here we are heading north of the U.S.-Canada border. This was a pretty good shot too. I was pretty happy with that. The locomotive is very nice. It's got the gyro light on the nose. Here we are standing right on the border, basically, chasing this train northbound. Yeah, I wish that the whole train would bind that last shot, because that was, I think, one of the best shots I got on this layout. That one and the one through the yard. Very good. Yes, I can. So, let's see. There's the Canadian coming into the yard. There's my train up top. You can see my boxcar. We were waiting at a red here. This is the Rapido train set. Very true, Adam. Very true. Especially given all these Pac-Men running around on these CP units. Alright. That's a decent shot, but we'll jump there. Like I said, all these shots are going to be in the final video, so if you see a shot that I skipped by that you thought, oh, that'd be a nice shot to see, you will see it eventually, don't worry. It just may take me a week or so before I have time to start editing these together. So I'm hoping to get these videos out by the end of May, but we'll see. It's Dave blasting hi to me as we roll by out of Castlegar. Oh, there you go. Here's another good one for you, Chris. Is looking up from below the bridge. From all this movement, we must be in a boat down in the water. Oh no, we're on a bank, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where you would be standing to shoot this. Who knows? Welcome back, Kyle. We're
Just about there. Any second now.
glad you enjoy it, Chris. And welcome back, Kyle. I think we're there you go. That's a pretty good shot. I think we'll end our time at Drew's on this shot here. I'm gonna need to adjust the tilt. My camera was not quite flat, as you can see, but otherwise this was a very nice shot. Yeah. Editing, the bane of our hobby within the hobby of videography. It was supposed to be Pac-Man. Well, if you ever need it, it's only 30 minutes. Oh, jeez, yeah. I'm gonna have a lot of video to edit. There we go. So now we so I use Streamlabs OBS for my streaming software, Chris. Paul, I think you use just regular OBS, if I'm not mistaken. They're both fine programs. They have some slight tweaks between the two, but Yeah, I use Streamlabs OBS. I find it pretty easy to use. There's some things that I don't love about it, like I can't pull up individual chat messages like you can on some streaming softwares, but it's what I know, and it's what I've used for a while now, and I've actually got to set up a new overlay for myself at some point this summer. But in any case, so now we have moved on. We wrapped up our time at Drew James's. Now we have moved on to Ed O'Rourke's New Haven layout. So this layout is basically just based on New Haven Station in New Haven, Connecticut. It's ostensibly the mid 1950s, but because it's his layout, he runs what he wants, which means he's still got I-5s and I-4s running, steam locomotives on passenger jobs, and he has EP-5s, which didn't come around to the end of the 50s, beginning of the 60s. So there's a little bit of wiggle room in that time period, but ostensibly it's roughly the 1950s in New Haven, Connecticut. And this right here, this section here, this is the Manufacturers Railway, which Paul, if you can imagine, Heath took this job almost immediately and was done with this job in I would say about, I don't know, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. He was done so fast that Ed was like, well, what could I have done to make it harder for you? Here we go. So here's a walk around the room. This is east or west staging. So this is trains coming from Maybrook, from New York City, all the eastbounds heading towards Boston. So anything that's got an electric on it here is coming from New York, or anywhere on the electrified lines, and anything that has a diesel on the point is coming from the Maybrook line. There's EMU, a pair of EMUs, which is actually super interesting, and the reason it's kind of stuttery, anyone who knows the HO scale Doodlebug that Bachmann produced, that's the mechanism in that. In the first car there, which is ostensibly the trailer, is a Bachmann Doodlebug, and it's hauling the one that has the pantographs. There you go. So here is the station. We've got the engine facility there that we just passed. There's Dave Barraza, our station master. So this is, we just went through New Haven Station. There's the REA tracks and stuff. A couple of cars. Up top there, that's the branch line. This right here, that is the staging yard, the east staging yard. So this represents Boston, or generally points east of New Haven, Connecticut. So that's what all of this is. So as you can see, he's got the EF4 here, which would not have existed until the 1960s on the New Haven. But when a manufacturer produces an electric locomotive of your railroad, you buy that pretty much. I'm looking to buy, if anyone made any non-brass New Haven electrics in Edskill, I'd probably just have to buy them. It's just one of those things. But so this top line here, that's the branch line that goes to Willantic. I don't remember the town that goes to, but that's a branch line off the main. We've got the RDC that runs on it. That's an RDC 3 because it's got the RPO up front and the passenger behind. So that's the branch line, and then this center track here down the staging yard goes out to Heath outside the room on the Manufacturers Railroad. And now we just got some neat shots of trains running. So there's a Maybrook, a train departing Maybrook for Boston. This is a terrible shot, so we're gonna move on from that quickly. There's the EF4, which is a former Virginian EFC electric freight unit. Nice, Adam. It's like, Those Bachmann doodlebugs are so ubiquitous and are so useful for so many things, but the drive is just awful. It's just terrible. The N-Skill ones I think are actually a bit better, but yeah, so there's a EP4. And then we jump backwards to an EP5, which is going to be, there it is. That's the train departing now. I think he said this is the...
Well, we don't have sound enough people. Sound.
I don't remember.
Just fake.
Capital Limited? No. That's a B&O train. What am I saying? The Congressional, maybe? It might be the Congressional. Because it's got Pensy run-through cars. I'm trying to remember what train that would have been. I can't remember right now.
This one's inauthentic as well. So I got that one first.
So here you can hear why EP5s are known as jets.
That guy and that guy are bilocated.
I hope you get an extra pay.
One would hope.
Those screaming fans right there, that's why those EP5s are known as jets. No, it's not the Broadway Limited, because that was New York to Chicago. This is a New York to Boston train. I think this is a DC to Boston train. At New York Penn. Actually, I think it would actually have been at... I think, because, yeah, the New Haven came in, so it would have been the Pensy... I'm trying to remember how the reroutes work. It might have been, I don't know, I can't remember. Somehow the Pensy got trains from DC to New York, where they swapped from a Pensy train to a New Haven train, and then continued on to Boston. I don't remember the exact geometry of how it worked right now. But that's the deal with that. That's why the James Logan was on there and stuff like that. Yeah, electric sounds are just so unique. They're so neat. But that EP5's distinctive high-pitched whine of those fans running to cool those electric motors, that's why those are known as jets. What is this here? There's that EP4 electric passenger. It might have been the Congressional Limited.
All manner of large-scale decoders that would take 4 amps.
It also may have been one of the trains that, because there were also trains that the Pensy set out cars for in New York, and the New Haven would pick them up, but its technically wasn't a run-through train. It may have been one of those. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to go back and remember. But there's the I-4 Pacific that the New Haven had before their I-5s. And then the jet that's coming to take its train east, or west to New York. I shot these real long video clips here. And I'm going to have to cut down on them for the video itself. There's another one. So we're just going to kind of skim through them. Sounds good, Paul. Hey, I mean, at this point, you've seen the other layout that I'm going to show because you were there. But thanks for tuning in, Paul. Really good stream tonight. Good having you around, and get some rest. Oh, there's that. Oh no, sorry. That engine before was an EP3. This is an EP4. I forgot. The EP4s had those big, tall bulldog noses. There's the EP4 hauling freight, and then we had. I think then we had an I-5 come in, right? Yes. My favorite locomotive of all time. Certainly my favorite steam locomotive. I'm pretty sure it's my favorite locomotive of all time. The New Haven I-5 Hudson. Just an absolutely gorgeous locomotive. There it is, in all of its glory. So, that's kind of... actually, this was a good shot. This was a very nice shot that I got at the end here. But then we're going to move on to the final layout. Unfortunately, I didn't get a ton of really great footage of Ed's layout. Mostly because I was busy switching, and because his bench work is very low down. He has it at height where if himself or anyone he's friends with winds up in a wheelchair, he's got an elevator in his house that goes down to the basement, and he's got it set to, I think he said, like 30 inches above the ground, or 32 inches above the ground or something, as opposed to the standard like 48 inches. Which is low enough down that someone in a wheelchair could roll right up to the layout and still run trains. Which is awesome, but it also does make getting down to get shots a little difficult. So, that's going to do it for Ed O'Connell's, or Ed O'Rourke's. Well, actually, we'll shoot this train. We'll show this train here, too, because this is the train that has the BNCCS boxcar. The FA there unfortunately kept derailing slightly, but I think my boxcar's at the end of this train. This is a freight train originating from Maybrook, and I might, with these, certainly the A and the B unit, I'm going to replicate on that train, I think. I don't know. It's so hard to tell with the FAs. FBs. There's the BNCCS boxcar. And with that, we can move on to the last layout, which is Dick Ayer's B&A Central. So, here we go. So, I didn't do an overview quite of the layout first, just because it was kind of difficult to. So, let me jump ahead to that overview. But Dick Ayer's is basically, it's kind of like a loop, which is very nice. It's very fun. It's very different from any layout that I've been to. And this is the layout that our good buddy Paul Stamp was at. There he is right there. Right next to Ken. I think it was Ken. I'm so bad at names. I think that was Ken, though. I think that was what his name was. Where am I when I'm inside? Oh, it's like the end. It's like one of the last videos I shot, I think. There we go. So here's kind of a loop around the layout. Where's Ray? I said his thing. But it's kind of a, it's a standard New England village or city kind of vibe that we've got going. The loop goes around twice before going back to staging in either end, or the switches can be aligned where it continues around, it does another loop, and then there's a bunch of switching that happens inside the loop, and halfway through the session, the road engineers outside switch with the switcher engineers inside, which allows everyone to do all the jobs. Or all the types of jobs, which is switching and road crew. So, very nice layout, and he had some beautiful trains, beautiful engines. So let's jump back to the very beginning to show off that brand new BLI Berkshire. And there's the Rapido FL9, which we'll jump to in a minute as well. There it is. Here's that beautiful B&M Berkshire that BLI just came out with. The B&A, the B&M Berkshires. I think they were the T1s on the B&M. They were A1As on the B&A, I remember, but I think they were T1s on the B&M.
That's the one over there.
Yeah, I never saw it. I don't recall it. So you don't have to.
So there's that.
Is this saying that I need to pick up the
Think.
new plate box first?
You can hear Paul in the background working through his switching. There's the Bud car that I was running. Which I think is at one of the Rapido RDCs. Here we got a meet between the RDC and the T1.
So who rings the bell? Train moving or both? If they're passing? See, you guys never work on here.
No.
Work on here.
Alright, so let's jump ahead here to... There we go. I then ran the B&M passenger job, RS3, with a couple of Osgood Bradley coaches and a B&M milk car. Which I actually had to stop and get dropped off at the town. Which was Millstown, I think. I think it's Westport and Millstown were the two cities on it, or the two towns on this layout. I don't remember. Paul had a great time switching with this, was it this one? Yeah, it was. Paul got the, got to switch with a caboose that you're probably very familiar with, Garrett, that,
Am I?
Dick has some just fun stuff on his layout, and one of those, so this is a P&LE S4 or S2, and the caboose on the train is
Yep.
a Finger Lakes transfer caboose in the pacemaker scheme, which Paul had a lot of fun using. So, just something I thought it would be fun to point out here. So then let's jump ahead to the good shots of the FL9, which I think were this one here. This was a pretty decent shot. And then the next one is, I think, my favorite shot. Sped up a little too much there, yes. Yeah, so this one's a much better shot. FL9 2015 and a pair of stainless steel lightweight Osgood Bradleys. Exactly, Garrett. Exactly. It's just one of those fun things. It's like, oh, that's neat. Oh, this was a pretty decent shot too. And then I think we'll because I think this was the last train that I ran before we swapped sides. We took a drink break. We all went out and had some water or some soda or whatever. And then we swapped jobs. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that shot there. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, give you something to do, Garrett. There we go.
Hey.
Track you are on.
Yeah, that you may want to do that first. That may help you. There we go. Here's another kind of loop around the inside, or at least part of the inside. So now I'm on the inside here. So there's my DUI.
Yeah.
DUI 6. It's a SW9. No, it's SW 1200. Here we've got the
What I was gonna do first,
air horn, air whistle. So again, I'm not going to bore you guys with the switching right now on stream, but you can, I'll cut, clean it up a little bit, and then I'll put it all in the video. But it was a lot of fun switching. Just trying to find some of the. All right, here's Paul running the T1. I was really happy with that shot too, with the city in the background. And there it is up top now. Alright, let's jump towards the end here. Oh, there's my boxcar on the layout. So there you can see all three layouts. All three layouts that I was at this weekend, I got a chance to run on. So this was a fun thing. We had to, so this train is actually, like, literally these little, what is it? It's a 260, so that would be a mogul. 260s are moguls, I believe. My brain is working right now, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't, who knows. But the mogul's not powerful enough to haul up the hill. So we need to take a second mogul out of the engine house, turn it on the turntable, bring it to servicing, put it back on the turntable, bring it to the other town here, and the two road locomotives, two road engineers actually work together. They each have one on their controller, just like on a real steam locomotive. You wouldn't MU two steam locomotives. That's not a thing that you can do. So they have to work together to fight out the slack and everything, and so it's one of those neat things. So there we go. There they are running together. You can see the second locomotive here is pushing a little too much. So it's a fun back and forth that they have to do. Similar to going up the branch line on Jack's layout. Only difference is on Jack's layout, it's not double heading, it's locomotive and a pusher. There we go. It's another bridge for you, Chris, if you're still here. You are good. Yeah. Here's a bridge for you. Thank you. It's one of those unusual shots where it's a very realistic shot. You know, you got someone down on the ground looking way up at this bridge way up in the air. But something you don't really see very often because it doesn't give you an amazing view of the train. It gives you a still pretty good view of the train, but it's not a phenomenal one. But that's I think a very realistic angle for someone watching a train from down below. And then we got the train up top on this big concrete bridge over the tracks, which is also nice. I wish I had angled this up a little bit and to the right a little bit, this shot, just so it doesn't feel like these trains are in the background. It feels like they're more the focal point, but it's still an alright shot. So this might be in TCS boxcar being loaded, unloaded. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with figures on the layouts, but somebody else is in the engineer seat. How's my operator supposed to be?
And there's the helper locomotive running back down the hill to where it came from. So that is going to be it for Dick Ayers. So my CSMP video is going to be pretty long, and then the other two are going to be relatively short. But yeah, of course, Chris. Thanks for tuning in. Pleasure to have you here, and glad I could accommodate you with some nice bridge shots. But yeah, so with that's gonna do it for the video clips here. Like I said, keep an eye out. My goal is to get all these videos out by the end of the month, or at least start doing so by the end of the month. And let me get the music going again for the end of the stream here as we wrap up. Where did the music go? There it is. But sounds good, Adam. Yeah. I'm probably gonna hop off here in just a second anyways. But Adam, thanks for coming in tonight, man. It's always good to have you here. Happy birthday. Hope you had a good birthday, Adam. And oh, only 11. Oh, okay. But yeah, so I'm still pretty tired from this weekend myself. As I'm sure Paul is, which is why I'm sure he dipped out. But so I'll just quickly talk over some projects that I've got going on here. So obviously we're still working on the Hopewell Depot build. If I get these locomotives out of the way. I've got half the depot constructed now, you know, with the end wall and the two side walls, which I believe I had done last time. I just didn't have them put together, and for good reason. As you can see, they're not quite parallel, so I'm gonna have to probably really wet down this corner post and carefully go in with an X-Acto and cut it out, and then with I gotta get I gotta get something to really hold the corner at a right angle. Absolutely, Sean, it was a blast. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, in that case 11 is nothing, Adam. But yeah, so I don't know, I might use this as something to try and keep right angles, but really what I need is some 1, 2, 3 blocks and some clamps and stuff to hold these at a right angle, which I think is what I'm going to get soon. I'm gonna try and get some right angle pieces and things to hold in place. But that is where that project stands, along with the other end wall still done. This end wall only has one window, which is why there's only one window on there, and that's gonna go roughly here. I've got one panel of the bays done or cut out. I need to get the window measured and put in place, and that goes then right here. So that's gonna be something I think I'm gonna work on this week, is getting this continued on. My goal is to have all the walls cut out and possibly assembled in time for the end of the month, because I'd love to bring it to the RPM in Springfield, but we'll see if we get there or not. I'm not going to be, you know, really super worried about getting it there. It would just be nice. Of course, I've got the Alco PA that I showed off earlier that I got the decoder installed into. That needs to be weathered. Certainly the vents and some grime down here. I'm going to be looking for a nice reference image of this. What other projects do I have going on? Oh, the Bud car. The Bud car needs. I put the one detail part on here, but I have to order. I have to put in an order to Cater USA's parts stores to get the roof vents for these, as well as a bunch of other parts. It's time for me to put in an order. I've been accumulating things that I need to order for a little bit now. So there's that. I'm working on where did I put it? Oh, I put it away already. I'm working on getting a RS2 painted up for the New Haven. This is one that I got for relatively cheap. This is a Kato RS2. I got a decoder in it. As you can see there, I got a Digitrax decoder already slotted in. It runs really nicely, very smoothly. This is going to become what number was it? 505. I think it was 0507, which is the only one that has documented evidence of getting the Alpert scheme, which instead of the black hood and orange cab like this like this GP9 here, it's like the RS3 that I have the review on, orange hood, black cab. And I like that scheme a little better. It's a little less flashy. And hey Ed, welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, I'm just wrapping up because I'm still pretty tired from Ops Till You Drop this weekend. But you can look forward to seeing all the clips that I showed off tonight in the videos coming up. But glad you joined us, even if it's only for the end here. Like I was saying, though, that RS2 is the only one that has photographic evidence of getting that paint scheme that I found anyway, and that I've seen referenced online. And so I plan on painting it into that paint scheme. I've got the decals for it. These are also just generally good for me to have, but I've got decals for New Haven locomotives. So there's that. And then I have 2 boxcars that I found a photograph of 0507 plus it's a Northern Pacific 50-foot 2-door wagon top boxcar, and what appears to be a New York Central 40-foot 2-door boxcar. So I have a New York Central 40-foot 2-door boxcar. It looks about right. The key thing is it has the oval emblem on the right side of the car, which all the 50-foot 2 doors that I found pictures of online have it on the left side of the car. So all the 40-foot 2 doors that I've found pictures of basically have it on this. I found very few photographs of, like, really good photographs of 2-door boxcars in the New York Central that have the logo on the right side of the car. So it's just very difficult to tell if it's exactly the right car. But basically, I'm trying to recreate this consist with the using it as an opportunity to weather from a picture and model to a picture's standards, so that way I can really start to model reality, because I think that's super fun. But so that's a project that's on the workbench right now. Oh, the RDC, that's right. Back to the RDC real quick. I have a decoder for this on the way. So I'm going to get a decoder in this, and then this can run. And I'm going to be very happy to have this running, because that'll be a fun thing to run around the club layout and back and forth on my layout here. And it's just, Bud cars are just fun to me. But yeah, so that's kind of some of the things that are on the workbench right now. I'm going to try and get, before I get this done, the depot done, for the Northeast RPM, I want to get that consist with the RS2 and the 2 boxcars done. That way I can print a picture of that, because that's an easy thing, relatively, for me. It's paint the locomotive, the hood orange, and I've got, that's the thing I was talking in Paul's chat earlier. It's true color paint, which means it's a pain in the rear to work with, because it's acetone based and not water based or anything. But I have it, and it's the right color. I just have to get the consistency quite right so that it's a nice even coat over the locomotive that's not too thick. And I think I've gotten it pretty close, but I think this shell might be too far gone, because I did get some acetone on it, and it did, you can see there, it did warp the grills a little bit. we warped the door panels on the back here, so I might be able to pass it off as weathering, but I might just get a new hood, because the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm realizing that this is an has an air-cooled turbo, which means that the exhaust vent is perpendicular to the long hood and offset, or parallel to the long hood and offset, whereas 0507 in the picture has a water-cooled turbo, which means that the exhaust vent is perpendicular to the long hood and centered on the long hood. And Kato they sell shells that are accurate to that, so I may just have to get one and work with that. But in any case, that's something for me to figure out. For now, I might just make do, but we will see. In any case, though, I think that's where I am going to leave it. I've got lots of stuff on the workbench. I've got lots of video editing to do over the next few weeks. I've got more operating coming up this weekend going on. Yeah, well, sure. Yeah, we can call it that. The nice thing is, if I do just want, for now, I might just go with this, because I've got plenty of decals. For now, I might just go with this shell, because the way the photo is, you are looking at this side of the shell anyways, which looks fine. I'm just not super happy with the paint finish on it, but that can be dulled with weathering. This side isn't visible in the photo, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it's, the way it's oriented is like, like that, roughly. I think long hood forward. If it's short hood forward, then I'm SOL, and I've just got to make do with it or get a new shell. But we'll see. And I also want to, so the way the cab sits, it doesn't have the I don't know. I have to see if the picture of 507 has the steam generator, because I don't remember if if all the RS2s had them and if all of them got removed. But I know at least some of the RS2s the New Haven had steam generators over the short hood. So I got to look into how to model that as well. But in any case, that's all stuff for future dentists to figure out. So for now, that's where I think I'm going to leave tonight, because I am getting pretty tired. And I gotta go make my lunch and get ready for work in the morning. So, and I'm glad you joined us for the last little bit here. Sean, I'm glad you were able to be here. Garrett, Chris, Adam, obviously Paul, Kyle, Pine Valley was here for a little bit. All you guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Trains for You, thanks for joining the channel here. Glad to have you. Exactly, Ed. It's just a matter of recreating that picture, if it's the right side or not. So 07 indeed. Thank you, Trains for You, for subbing. Good to have you on board. Everyone, thank you for being in here tonight. It's always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in stream chat, and that's the reason why I do these streams. It's to chat with you guys. Model rareting truly is the greatest hobby, because we have the greatest community out there, and it's so fun to be a part of that community. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for putting up with my ramblings and rantings, and I hope you enjoyed some of the video clips and hear me chatting. And yeah, look forward to those videos coming out. Hopefully soon. Hopefully before too long. And yeah, thanks for watching tonight, y'all. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will see you all on the next track.